Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic week. Well, there's some more sad news if you're a crew member of Carnival. It's always sad news when you hear of anybody going overboard on a cruise ship, and that's what happened this week on the Carnival Victory, about 30 miles off the coast of Cuba. A 37-year-old crew member, they're saying, fell overboard, went overboard. Their their wording around it is not saying jumped overboard. So right now I can't confirm, but as we all know, this is usually the case when somebody disappears off a cruise ship, especially when it's a crew member. As we all know, a lot of people these days, especially with social media and the way things are, they can get into a depression mode. It's very easy if you feel alone and away from family, that you feel disconnected from the world, and it's very easy to get into a funk and a depressing mood. And yeah, crew members, it's think about it. You're away for 6 to 8 to 9 months away from your family, working 7 days a week, basically, many hours a day. It's very easy to get very depressed, especially if you're not happy with your situation. That's not saying they're not happy with working for Carnival or working on a cruise ship. What they're not happy with is, you know, a very small stateroom is your home and you're sharing it with another person. What if you don't really get along with that person you're sharing it with? Your family keeps calling saying they miss you, and you feel homesick. That's the situation more than the conditions on the ship. Most crew members are treated very, very well on all the big cruise lines. Everyone I've interviewed, right down from people who do laundry to staterooms to cooks to captains, everybody really appreciates the job. So a lot of people come down on the salaries and everything about cruise lines, but you got to remember, some of these people are making double to triple what they could ever make at home, and they're supporting their entire families on this money because the dollar value is different where they live than where we live. It's just that simple. People look at my salary sometimes and they say, "Oh, you're making a lot of money." Yeah, well, okay, but you're comparing it to somebody who lives in the UK, and guess what? Your dollar is twice as valuable as my dollar. Then I go to somebody who's living in China, and I can stay at a five-star resort for $100 Canadian. So you can see the depends on where you live. So it's not always about money for depression. A lot of it is you're feeling lonely, you're feeling isolated from your family, and if you don't have any close connections on the ship, it's very easy to become a depressed person, and unfortunately that's when these things happen. The search has been on. So far, nothing has been found. No trace of the gentleman or lady. They haven't announced the name yet. And I just hope that somebody's picked them up. The Coast Guard is searching. They've sent a seaplane. They sent Coast Guard boats. The cruise ship is searching. They've warned all the other ships in the area to keep an eye out. And there's a massive search underway. We can all hope for the best outcome from this situation, but the longer it goes on, the less likely there'll be a happy ending to the story. So if you are somebody who works with somebody or knows somebody who works on a cruise ship and there's any hint whatsoever of depression, or they're not enjoying life sort of thing, and don't get me wrong, people can really hide this. They can look like they are the most, though they're living the perfect life. They're happy all the time. They're smiling. They're joking around. I personally have lived through this situation where somebody, you know, passed away of their own volition, and nobody knew. Best friends, family, Absolutely nobody knew. And there was no hint in text messages and talking to them, in hanging out with them, no hint at all they were going through this depression. So if you're working on a cruise ship, keep that in mind with your friend. If you find them sitting alone sometimes and just being very, very quiet and alone by themselves and not very talkative, that can be a sign that they're hiding something. Or if somebody is overly bubbly, overly happy all the time, no matter what, that can also be a sign. A lot harder to pick out and a lot harder to distinguish, because people will say that about me. Because I'm always pretty much in a good mood when I'm out and about. But even going through chemotherapy, I was in a good mood. So just it's hard to go. I hope we find this crew member, and I just hope there's more awareness out there with the cruise lines and the cruise ships from spotting depression and anybody who has thoughts of harming themselves, whether it be a passenger or whether it be a crew member, and kind of especially the crew members, because they have a longer time to figure it out. A passenger might only be on the ship for 3 or 4 days. Crew members on there 6 to 7 months. You should be able to sort of pick up a pattern after a day after day after day situation. So that's what we know so far. I'll keep you updated, and if you have anybody that you have any suspects out there, please make sure that they reach out for good help and talk to somebody, even if it's just you, and try and get them to open up, because if you don't open up, it turns into the worst possible situation. I hope you liked this news update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.